Hey guys, welcome to my video. I am your host, the J-Man, and today I want to present to you a graphic novel written and designed by Dark Horse Comics. And the name of it is Conan and the Midnight God. You can see Conan the Barbarian and back. And I'm going to preview this book for you real quick. This is not a review, it's just a preview because I haven't actually read it, but I wanted to give you like an introduction and tell you why I picked it up. First of all, the story and plot are inspired by Robert E. Howard's original work. He was the creator and author of Conan the Barbarian. So all of the Dark Horse Comics Conan series are inspired by works from Robert E. Howard and designs by Robert E. Howard. And I think they do a very good job. This particular story, set during the time period of Conan's reign as king, was written by Josh Dysart, and the artwork was done by Will Conrad. The colors by Juan Ferreira. And I think the artwork looks splendid. If you want to take a look at it yourself, you can tell me what you think. To me, it looks kind of oily, like a oil paint, or even possibly a watercolor paint. Yeah, even though it was done digitally, it looks really nice. Probably not as good as the artwork in Conan and the Hall of the Dead, another Dark Horse comic, but still really nice. Okay, now I'm going to give you a preview of the plot of the story. I'm going to go ahead and read the back. And it says, with a nation to rule and an heir on the way, King Conan has put aside his sword in favor of diplomacy and the demands of the crown. But when a sinister cult devours the neighboring nations of Stygia, the barbarian king must once again ride to battle against ancient forces of darkness that he has never faced before. Set in the wake of Robert E. Howard's Hour of the Dragon, Conan and the Midnight Sun, or Conan and the Midnight God, takes the Cimmerian into the bowels of Stygia and the heart of an evil that threatens to overwhelm all Hyboria. So it appears like this is in relation to Hour of the God, which is a story by Robert E. Howard. Probably one of the... Well, any story by Robert E. Howard is going to be one of the really old ones, one of the originals. So this takes place either during or... Oh, well, it says set in the wake, so therefore it would probably be a little bit after that, kind of like a follow-up to Hour of the God, if anybody knows about that story or is familiar with that story. Which I'm assuming Conan is a king in that story as well. Because the Conan series and the Conan books, they have different eras or time periods of their stories. Like, for instance, this story is set during the rule of Conan as king over his land, and maybe other stories are set during the period where he was becoming a barbarian or he was still a boy, and other stories are probably about his conquest, how he conquered people or lands and became the king. But anyway, this book retails for $14.95 US. I picked it up on Amazon for only $5.50, so it was a really great deal, and I was just elated to be able to find it for that price. Wizard Magazine says, this is epic storytelling at its best. The Comic Book Bin says about the artist, Dysart concerns himself admirably with the politics of the Hyborian age and lends his story a universal angle that would have pleased Conan creator Robert E. Howard. Okay? But I can't wait to dive into this book and really just sink my teeth into the plot. And then I'm obviously going to come back on YouTube and give you guys a review, let you know what I thought of the book overall. But yeah, Conan the Barbarian. I think the Dark Horse comics are really the best rendition of the Conan character that you're going to find. Conan has been passed around by several companies, particularly Marvel has done him. But I find that the Dark Horse comics are the best portrayal, or the most accurate when compared to the original Robert E. Howard stories. Now, there's been lots of Conan fiction because the character is pretty old. It's been around for a long time. But I think these stories are the most rich and entertaining. If you look at the movies, which were really just an adaptation or kind of like a spin-off of the stories written by Robert E. Howard, the character was not as accurate, or it didn't measure up to the original character that Howard had designed. So some of the portrayal was off, and the movies themselves, they didn't really how should I say this? The stories, the plot of the movies, they just weren't what they should have been. They weren't as good as they needed to be. So Conan the Barbarian, really, that's a good franchise that filmmakers and producers could easily pick up on and use this as your reference guide, as your inspiration for making a good Conan movie. Doing it justice. And that's what I want to see, a Conan the Barbarian movie that really does the franchise justice, because the other ones are, not only are they outdated, but they weren't all that great in the past. If you don't believe me, just check out the reviews of other people online, other critics that have talked about it and said that, the plot was really lacking. But, yeah, not that there was anything wrong with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan the Barbarian. I mean, that's a great choice, and that's a great casting for obvious reasons. But that personality of Conan really doesn't match this personality of Conan. They're pretty much two different people. Yeah, they're both barbarians, but, the argument is a barbarian is a barbarian. How else are you going to portray him? But that's not true. If you read the comics and you pay attention, you'll really see the difference between the characters. Conan has a personality all his own. It's just not your typical barbarian or caveman. So, yeah, having said that, I'm trying to get in touch with other people who like Conan the Barbarian or have been reading the stories. But, yeah. Conan and the Midnight God. I will review this book once I finish it, and I can't wait to let you guys know what I thought. So, thanks for watching my video. As always, please comment, and see you next time.